Alright guys, so today we're going to be talking about, obviously, cheating. We do the age-old raise of hands, who's cheated before? Oh, weird, everybody. So, I'm not going to go into very much about the statistics of cheating, because obviously a ton of people cheat. What I'm really going to get into today is why students cheat, a little bit of the psychology behind it, what might cause students to cheat, and then how, as teachers, we can prevent that cheating by doing a couple things. So, the best definition of cheating I found was the getting of reward for ability by dishonest means. Now this can be anything from, cheating on an exam, looking at a partner next to you and copying their answer. You might get a reward for that by not doing the work. Same thing goes with plagiarism. Obviously, that's definitely not doing your own work and still getting a reward for it. So getting into a little bit of why students cheat, we're going to talk about parents and what the psychology, I guess the whole thing's going to come from a background of the student's thought. So what they think about parents leads them to cheat. What they think about peers will influence them to cheat. Teachers, and then the students themselves, what within them will cause them to want to cheat. In regards to parents, they see their parents doing it, I'm sure some of us maybe have stories about parents cheating on income taxes, cheating somebody out of a deal on a car, just kind of different things. But, interestingly, I'm going to ask this question here, and we're going to do a little, I'm going to quiz you guys a little bit and see what you think. So what percent of parents rated honesty and truthfulness as the absolute most important to teach their kids? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to point out and we're going to go in levels. So as I get to where you think is the correct answer, you're going to get louder. So if you think it's 70, we're going to go, oh, you know what I mean? Okay. Yeah. So, we're going to start at 40, so it's got to be over 40. Ready, go. That's impressive. Right about there. The actual number is at 91. So that was really impressive. 91% of parents want their students to be taught this honesty and integrity and truthfulness. But obviously, as teachers, we can do a really good job of that. Again, I'll get into that a little bit later. And then the next thing they learn from the parents is they get a pressure to succeed. We hear from parents all the time, you're not going to get into a good college if you don't do well in school. So that will drive them to look at the person next to them because they think they got the right answer and take their answer. Then peers, again, they see peers cheat. Going back to who else cheated, everyone's cheated. So if they think, if everyone's doing it, I might as well. And then that goes along with competition. If their peers are getting above them by cheating, what's stopping them from doing so? Getting into teachers cheat. With the education system as it is now, a lot of our raises, and if we continue to have a job, is based on student learning. And if our students aren't progressing, whether it be because we're poor teachers or whatever, we might fudge numbers. And if they see that, obviously not a good thing. Lack of consistency. We're going to play this game again. This time it's going to be the percent of teachers that don't report or address cheating because of fear of parents. Start here again. All right, you guys are pretty close. The number's right about 70. So 70% of teachers will say they don't report or talk about cheating because they're afraid that parents are going to be like, oh, my kid didn't cheat, he's perfect, Johnny's a little angel. So they don't report it or just don't do anything about it. And then obviously definitions of cheating is going to be different for every teacher. One teacher I had at Saginaw Valley didn't care about plagiarism at all. Terrible teacher. Anyway, she didn't have us cite anything. We could take snippets right out of Google and put it in her paper, and she didn't care. So that will lead students to not care themselves. And obviously students will not influence, but will take it upon themselves to cheat. Whether they didn't prepare for the test because they were off doing something else. I know I've cheated. And one time specifically, I remember getting caught a few years back. It was a very traumatic experience. It was in 4th grade. I had a baseball game the night before, and I just didn't have time to study for this math exam, and I knew the kid sitting next to me was really smart, so I was like really sneakily, looking over there, and he got the answer wrong. But I had copied down exactly what he said. So on the paper, the teacher was like, "Oh, you need to see me after class," on both of our papers. And I went in there, and I'm like, "Oh man, I'm in trouble." And I knew I was in trouble. And he's like, "What's going on here? Why do you guys have the same wrong answer?" And the person I copied off of was, he's like, "I don't know." And I'm just like, I cheated. I didn't know. And so I went into this whole sob story. I didn't have time to study, And my teacher was like, poor time management. I'm sure he didn't say that, but essentially that was the lesson there. Lack of interest. This is going to be a huge one. If kids don't care about our topics, they're not going to, take the time to study. They're not going to really get into the projects and do their own work. So yeah. And then self-efficacy. If students aren't feeling well about themselves going into an exam, they are way more likely to cheat on the exam. Whereas if we've done our jobs and prepared them for the exam that they're about to take, they're gonna not be as likely to cheat off their neighbor. So the next big question is, how do we, as teachers, prevent cheating? Again, we're going to talk about a little bit about parents and then what we can do as teachers. As far as parents, we need to educate them, get them involved, and so forth. We're going to play this game again 2 more times. So, all right. So, what % of parents says there's no way their students cheated, have ever cheated? So, we're going to start down here. Okay. We're about 79, almost 80. It's about 60%. So you guys are a little bit high on that one. 60% of parents say their kids will never cheat. And show of hands again, who's cheated? Yeah. One more time. This is going to be, what % of students reported cheating. It's not what you think. From this study, I got at least. Well, it's 60%. You got it right. All right. So, like I said, get parents involved. Send home newsletters that talk about what your idea of cheating is, how they're going to be punished if they do cheat. Get them behind you, so that they can really be on your side. Not necessarily not on the son or daughter side, but also behind you guys. And then as teaching, this is going to be a huge one. Our lessons have to be about cheating. No matter what class we're in, we should do a lesson on cheating. I'm in physical education, and I've designed a lesson for cheating in physical education. It's kind of a little bit different, but numbers can be skewed in different ways. So we need to outline our expectations in these lessons. Go through point for point. What is cheating? What would we constitute as cheating? And we need to do this before the problem starts. If we, wait until after we've got a huge problem with cheating, it's too late. They've already gotten cheating ingrained in themselves, and we haven't done our job. And then consistency among teachers. We have to be, all on the same page. Whether that means working as like a school and getting together and saying, what are the punishments going to be? What will constitute cheating? And making sure everyone knows that and follows up on it. And making sure that the punishment isn't too weak. Because every time a student cheats, hopefully, they do a cost and a effect. That's not the correct term. Basically, they wager in their head, if they get in trouble, what's the cost going to be versus the potential for a good outcome. And if it's too weak, they're just going to be like, nothing's going to happen. But if it's too strong, it's going to be really hard to enforce. They get expelled if they cheat. If that's going to be too strong, you're not going to want to expel everybody in the school. Everybody, yeah, we're all expelled. And then teach the student success. Make sure that they have goals. This goes back to the self-efficacy. Make sure that they have goals that can be reached. If they feel better about themselves going into the exam, they're going to be less likely to cheat. And then also, along with themselves, make lessons meaningful. If you can incorporate what they feel is important into each lesson, they're going to be much more willing to go along with you and get the idea, get the information, and do it themselves. Okay, so land the plane here, as it were. Okay, what can we? There we go. What can we do, right? So a student cheats, and they say everyone else is doing it, right? So we, as teachers, have to be great role models for our students. Whether that means making sure to give good lessons, or be great examples of what cheating or how not to cheat in life. Then they might say, I don't even know what cheating is. How am I supposed to not do it if I don't know? So that's where having a clear definition of what cheating is and do a lesson on it to make sure that they know what it is. The next one, I'm not smart enough to do this. I don't know the information, so it's going to draw them to cheat. So then what we need to do, set realistic goals for the students. Make them achievable. Make them feel good about themselves in order to be successful. And one more here. I'm never going to use this information again. Why am I going to need to know how to throw a football? I'm not Peyton Manning. Getting them involved and making sure all the lessons are meaningful. So we put all this together. And become, excellent teachers. Make sure our students don't cheat. We're going to help them soar.